He's been named one of 12 Australian entrepreneurs to follow on Instagram by Smart Company. This year also marks 15 years since he founded his company called Broadband Solutions. Sam Bashiry, founder and director, joins us here in the studio. Sam, how are you doing?
I'm well, thank you. How are you?
Good. How good's your Instagram?
It's getting there.
That was my number one question. What is it you actually do?
So I started a telecommunications business called Broadband Solutions. We provide internet
15
services.
years ago, what broadband was there?
Not a lot. It was back in the ADSL days.
Wow.
Yeah, so...
I guess Broadband Solutions sounds better than ADSL Solutions.
It does.
So what were you doing back then and how's it changed?
There's been a lot of changes, obviously. So we've moved from having traditional internet to the NBN now, which has actually changed the marketplace dramatically, and it's kind of scary for a lot of people.
Is it scary for you?
Yeah, it is. It's going to change our business model, but for us it's about adapting and moving towards different technologies.
It's a bit weird how everyone's basically become a retailer now as opposed to a wholesale provider. How are you adjusting to that?
That's very true. So we are continuing to stay to our niche, which is hospitality. So we provide services to 90% of all the hotels in Australia and New Zealand. So for us, it's about sticking to what we are good at and at the same time adapting and growing our business in different technologies.
One of the challenges with that is they want reliability. And the NBN ain't reliable. How do you deal with that? Because in the end, they try and blame the people they're paying the money to, right?
Yeah, spot on. So for us, I don't think it's matured enough as yet. So we're waiting for the NBN to mature enough to be a product that is reliable. And I don't believe it's there yet. I think it will be there.
How far away?
Probably in the next 5 years.
5 years until the NBN, when you've got 5G. What do you think is going to happen to the NBN though when 5G launches and Apple jumps on the 5G bandwagon at the end of this year?
Yeah, I personally think 5G will probably take over NBN.
What does that do for you?
For us, it's about just understanding, Internet of Things and making sure we have products that click onto that 5G network and allow us to provide other services to customers.
Do you think that the NBN was a mistake?
I don't think it was a mistake. I think it could have been done much better than what it has been done.
What would you have done?
I would have actually done my homework properly and would have listened to other people.
That's the trouble with politics though, right? You got to do what you got to do.
Yeah, I think it shouldn't be about winning votes. It should be about providing a service for the consumers, the best service possible.
So your business is partly trying to get the word out as well as it is about trying to get the best deals for people, I would imagine, and work with different companies. How do you manage it?
We are carrier neutral, so for us it's about providing the best service for the consumer. So we're not a Telstra house or a different brand house. We are a carrier neutral service provider, so for us it's about providing the best service at the best price at that location. So that at the end of the day, our mission is to make sure the consumer gets the best service.
So when I think of hotels and the internet, I think they charge way too much money for what they give. You probably disagree with that. What do you think of the way that hotels, you mentioned that they're a big part of your business, about how the internet's going? Because it is quite surprising for a lot of consumers how they pay.
Yeah, look, that's changed a lot. So back 5 years ago, you're paying $49 per day when you're using the internet.
Yeah, imagine.
Yeah, so now it's for free. Most hotels are offering it for free. So they actually...
I saw a tear fall out of your eye when you said that.
No, so for us, we actually don't make a cut out of what they charge the consumer.
Right,
so we provide a service to the hotel. What they charge, we really don't get a cut out of that.
So given that so much tourism is regional in Australia at the moment, what's that like for you guys when it comes to trying to find good suppliers, given that the NBN ain't exactly everywhere yet?
It's very challenging. We're finding that it's very challenging and still very costly, which it shouldn't be in this day and age. Internet should be, it's like a utility. It should be really cheap.
Well, mate, we can't even keep the power on in summer. Let's not use utilities as a way to talk about things. It is quite surprising. I'm sure you're a global traveller as well, and you come back and you see where we're at with internet in this country, and that it's become a political football, much the same way that coal has. Yeah, it feels ridiculous.
Yeah, it is. Look, I think we've got a long way to go, but I feel we'll get there. It's just going to take a bit of time.
So, talk to me about your Instagram. What has that got to do with broadband?
Not a lot, actually. For me, I started the business with $1,000 15 years ago. So for me, I see a lot of young entrepreneurs that are currently online and using technology. It's about really letting people know that anybody can make it. You don't have to go to the best school or have the best education in this country to make it as an entrepreneur.
It's pretty good, isn't it?
Oh, it is. It's a great feeling, and it's about really allowing people to know that they can achieve anything they set their mind to.
Where did you grow up, if you don't mind me asking?
I was born in Iran, so I came to Australia when I was 10 years old.
In Iran?
Iran, that's right.
Oh, wow, excellent. And so you came to Australia. Where have you been living? Where did you grow up?
In Melbourne. So I've been here for the last 32 years. I've just turned 42, so.
Well, happy birthday.
Thank you.
So in terms of becoming an entrepreneur, how do you kind of look at this country? My mum is Spanish.
Yep.
And her relationship with Australia is very different to mine. It's a little bit like when I go overseas on a holiday, crazy Ahron comes out in terms of, don't wear a helmet when I'm riding a bike, etc. Do you think that when you're a visitor to, or perhaps not a visitor, it's not the right word, when you're an immigrant, you move to a country and you have an additional level of confidence in that you don't care what other people think?
I think we live in the best country in the world. I think this country is full of opportunities. It really comes down to you and using those opportunities. And we all come from a different background. We have a different story. So you can take that and really use it as a fuel to push you hard to do well in this world. And I think everybody's got it in them. It's just a matter of the past is the past. The future is what you got to focus on.
We can be pretty conservative though as Australians. We're not quite Americans, are we, in terms of adopting ideas. How hard did you find it when you were starting your business to really cut through, because you weren't a big player, and so many of these hotels you would have been talking to would be like, mate, I deal with Telstra, I don't deal with you.
Spot on. It's about becoming good at what you do, and for us it's about a partnership. So for us, I spent over a year just researching the hotel market and understanding what they do. So we weren't selling a product, we became a partner with them.
What was it about understanding the hotel market? Give us an insight.
So to give you an example, like when we went to a hotel, they had 3 internet connections, one for guests, one for admin, one for conferencing. Made no common sense to me. So we were able to build a portal and provide one internet link and allow them to use that portal to split that internet link into 3 segments. It was revolutionary back then, right? No one ever did that back then. Or to give them a backup link so that they had 24/7 operation.
So to be fair to yourself, you're not just a retailer, you're someone who has come up with this, tried to change the industry and have changed the industry as well. So that was a big part of it. It wasn't just being the middleman, the salesman, the retailer. It was actually adding something that no one else is doing.
Yeah, you have to be innovative, otherwise you don't last. So you can't compete on price. So you got to actually provide a solution, and you got to tailor make a solution for that segment.
But what you were doing by splitting it from 3 internet connections to 1 was essentially competing on price.
It was in a way, but it was more about being able to balance it properly and providing a best solution. So yes, you do get one bill, one supply, and you save more, but at the same time, it allows you to actually have better control over your internet link and provide a better solution for the end user that's having the conference or the guest, to allow them to have better speeds when they need to. So it gave them a bit of both.
I know people who get really frustrated by Australia. They've lived in the US, for example, and they love that startup mentality and that culture and the can-do attitude. And they come back to Australia and they find it to be a little bit tight, tough, hard to change people's minds. But you're quite optimistic. Why is that?
Because I think we can change that, and I agree with you. It is a bit slow here, and you can't talk about your success, because if you talk about your success, we have that tall puppy syndrome.
Someone's going to come along.
But we can't
go through your rubbish.
Yeah, but we can't allow that to happen. We have to make a change, and if we don't, then our young entrepreneurs that are the solid background of this country will never make it. So for us, we have to do that.
So the Instagram side for you is a way to, I suppose, put your own personal brand out there and to show that you are a person and that there is a face towards the company. So many companies have become faceless as they grow up and they become more corporate. Why have you decided to, I suppose, almost become a symbol, the icon of your company?
Because it's about keeping it real and just being honest and open, right? I think that's the number one aim, and allowing people to see what goes on in the background. People see the success and all the glory things and all the great things, but there's a lot of hard work and sleepless nights that goes behind that, right? It's a 15-year success. It's not an overnight success. And it's very important to showcase that to people so people don't give up when things get hard and continue to do well.
Let's bring Sam Bashiry back. We were, of course, talking about the Internet of Things and everything that he's up to. You've got a podcast.
Yes.
What's it all about?
It's about really highlighting other entrepreneurs' success and their actual real stories of all the struggles and all the wins that they're actually achieving.
What, in your experience, I've interviewed quite a few entrepreneurs here at Ticker Now, what would you say would be the common theme that you see when you are dealing with an entrepreneur? You tell me yours and I'll tell you mine.
Yeah, so for me, I find that they have an idea and they go out with that idea and they give it a go, and a lot of the times that idea turns into something successful, and a lot of times it doesn't. And what I'm finding is a lot of them are actually not really having the help and the mentorship that's required out there to carry them on throughout the journey. And I think they struggle with that.
That is a very, very good point. The thing that I notice is optimism and enthusiasm more than anything, which goes exactly what you're saying, but the persistence. So if I was to write a sign above the Ticker Studios, it would be the word persistence, which is just to keep trying and to keep, because that grind that you feel when you're really going through those difficult months and years sometimes for some businesses, you feel like you're not making any headway, the people you're relying on actually pull out or go the other way, and you're thinking, what am I doing? I could just go and get a job. But there's something in your mind that keeps you going, and it's that thing that makes the difference.
That's right. It's about believing yourself and believing that you can achieve anything you set your mind to.
What do the tough times look like for you?
Oh, they're terrible. Sleepless nights.
So they still exist?
Still, yeah, I still think, because I think it takes a lot to get to where you are, but it takes a lot more to actually not go backwards and continue to move forward. For me, it's about getting the best out of myself as a human being. It's about achieving my, best ability. And for me, that means a lot of different things. Maybe being a good parent, being a good husband, being a great, mentor for my staff. So there's a lot of things that constantly changes. It never stays still.
Yeah, there's a line in a movie, I can't think of the film, but it's always stuck with me. I saw it as a teenager, and it says, sometimes it's hard to lead when it's you that you are following. And when you are the boss of a company or you're doing something, because quite often the cycle of an entrepreneur is see an idea that no one else is doing, figure out a way that you think you can make money out of it, and that you can hire some staff and you can have a team, but no one's done it before. And that makes it really tricky. And the mentoring becomes a challenge, because sometimes your best mentor is giving you outdated advice that worked in their business, but it won't work in yours. And if you listen to everyone who's telling you what they think, it kind of comes down to, why is your gut instinct more important than mine?
Yeah, spot on. I totally agree with you. And at the end of the day, it's your story, it's your journey, and you got to just go on that journey. I could have
lived your life, and my business as selling broadband to hotels would be an absolute disaster.
Yeah, and I could have done yours.
You have the secret ingredient that I don't have, and that's what makes you different. So even if I've been successful in my business and I'm giving you advice, but there are some tips in terms of dealing with people, aren't there? So what would your advice, because my best moments at Ticker and my worst moments at Ticker are related to people. So sometimes you have an absolute star, other times you're really disappointed in something, and it's related to people. So therefore the tips and the mentoring actually becomes, how do you detect who is a good person or not a good person to do business with? What's your advice?
I think you got to always see the best in people until they prove you wrong. And once they prove you wrong, then you really need to actually stop dealing with them.
How quickly do you do it? Janine Ellis, who's of course, very famous entrepreneur, leader and founder of Boost Juice, she says she has a no dickheads policy, which is the second she discovers that someone's a dickhead, they're out.
Yeah, look, that's easy to do when you're successful. When you're starting a business, you want to do business with everybody because you have no choice.
Yeah.
So as you get bigger, you have the option to do that, right? But at the same time, they say, believe them the first time they show you. So the first time you see a lack of character in someone, and that's the most important thing, it's up to you to stop that from moving forward anymore. But at the end of the day, it's about believing other people at the same time, because you want to give people an opportunity. So I'm a massive believer of giving young entrepreneurs that are starting up my business, because it takes me back to where I was as a young person, and to see them do well and me having something to do with it in a very small way gives me a lot of joy. So I deal with a lot of young startups rather than people that have had many years of experience.
So one of the things is that when you're giving advice, or you have people who come and visit your business, they want to learn the number one question is, how do you make money? And you don't really want to tell people your secret ingredient, right? KFC never told people the secret herbs and spices, but at the same time, you want to be open. What's your trick to that without giving away your IP?
Yeah, look, it's very simple. It's really working hard. There's no other way. To be successful in this world, you got to think long term, and you got to do a lot of hard work. Nothing comes easy. It doesn't happen overnight. Unless you win Tats Lotto, it just does not happen, right? And people
if you had won Tats Lotto, here's a question for you. A year into starting your business, if you had won Tats Lotto, are you the sort of person who would move to Italy, to Lake Como, or would you continue running your business?
No, I continue to running my business, because I wouldn't have the same pleasure, I wouldn't have that same journey as I have had today. So, a university dropout,
so if someone came along and said, I want to give you 100 mil for your business right now, would you start another one, or would you retire?
No, I'm not ready to actually, we're still doing big things with our business. So I'm not ready to sell the business yet. And we have a lot of people knocking on the door. But, for us, we are very blessed to be in technology games. It's constantly changing and we are evolving as a business. So for us, we've just expanded internationally now into Vietnam, Singapore, Hong Kong, we're going to expand into. So there's so much to do. And when I think I've reached that goal, I realize there's so much more to do. And at 42, I don't want to retire, and I don't want to start a new business.
And the worst thing is, imagine having to come up with another idea.
And going through all those things again. No, I'm really happy,
Setting up your emails for another account. I couldn't do it.
Yeah, that's right. Exactly right.
Thank you so much for sharing your story with us today. It was really inspirational. We appreciate it. That is